We want to know the secrets. We want to know something that you realized that came from working in the industry that you wouldn't have known as a student or someone that had not had the experiences that you've had.
Oh,
Like a
I know
little tidbit.
one. They do not tell you how much you rehearse when you they just don't tell you. Like you think, "Oh, I'm going to rehearse and then I'm going to do my first night in the show and then I will never rehearse again because I did the show. So I'm good." That's the way it is in college. You don't have rehearsal after you open the show. Well, I have news for you. You will rehearse until you leave the show. You will be at rehearsal. Now, oh yes. Now,
when is there time for rehearsal? If you're doing 8 shows
Tuesdays
a week.
and Thursdays.
1 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fridays,
and so
sometimes.
I mean, it obviously depends on what your position is. If you are a principal who doesn't cover anybody, you have a little less rehearsal. But occasionally, you got to come in for a put-in. You got to come in for a music rehearsal. You got to come in for a dance cleanup. If you are someone like Raven and I who cover multiple parts, if there is a rehearsal, you are at it. Or if you are if you're a dancer who covers, let's say, just one principal, you're at every rehearsal. The rehearsals are constant. So that is
Never would have guessed that. Never.
Yeah, so I'm so happy to provide that nugget of information to the listeners.
Mine would be coming from my sophomore year acting and also tattooed on my arm, redefine, and then my little part of perfection. That was a big thing for me. I think being a fan of the show was like a little stifling because I just like always looked up to the 3 women that I covered, like their voices. I think I even started manipulating my voice in times to try to sound like them just because they are perfection. So I'm obviously still dealing with this right now, but you know that you need to redefine a performance, especially with a performance that you're doing over and over again for ongoing 3 years. Just always keep it open, keep it fresh.
Speaking of keeping it fresh, as the king of fresh, so, you graduate from school and you've got a book of songs that you've painstakingly put in years of work on. You're like, these are my songs that I'm going to book a Broadway show with. Just a word of advice. Those songs are fabulous. There are other songs. And those songs are also riddled with trauma and memories and words in your head from people. And sometimes those songs are not actually the best to serve you in the real world. So what actually ended up happening for me was I took it upon myself as like a little, what do they call it, assignment. When I got an audition and they were like, oh, bring your book in case I would learn a new song.
Oh, I love that.
Geared toward whatever show I was going for. Because, what did I have to do? I was doing Mamma Mia at night, or I was doing Hamilton at night. You have time to learn another song, and you also have the money to get with a pianist to work on it. So it actually unlocked my imagination because instead of being like, I'm auditioning for Book of Mormon, what song do I have in my book that's kind of appropriate for Book of Mormon? Instead of doing that, I would be like, oh, let me just pick a song that makes sense for me to sing for my Book of Mormon audition.
Right.
And then it made it kind of like a fun project. I'm also Catholic school educated 9 years, so I do have a tendency to be a little bit over prepared. But it was something that brought me joy was doing that.
Dylan, what about you when you booked Book of Mormon? What's something that you learned in that first, 6 months to a year?
Well, I was the only one being put into the show at the time, and normally up until that point, I had rehearsals for weeks with a full cast of people, especially at CCM. Sometimes you have 50 kids up on the stage with you, and you're not learning things until Tech Week, and you're like, oh, that's what that dance move is. You're in the back line, kind of giving a kick, step. And then fast forward, I have a week and a half to learn my track, and I'm the only person in the room with the stage manager, the dance captain, and I realized, I said, oh my God, I'm the only one they're looking at right now. And so you need to be prepared. You can't count on the person to the left of you or to the right of you. You need to know exactly what you're doing and where you're going. And I wish that I had done my homework a little bit better on other shows. That being put into a show is so different than starting from the ground up. So I had 9 rehearsals and then made my debut, and that I blacked out for the entire first weekend. But I think going into this, I'll be a lot more ready and know as much music as you can beforehand.